Halo Campaign Evolved has stuck around longer than I thought in terms of the overall internet conversation, but one thing has become clear now, that Xbox and 343 Industries, they have taken a beloved classic here and reduced the once masterpiece into truly just being another game meant for the modern gaming audience. But the crazy part is that people are actually trying to refund the game, and not everyone is successful, because it seems like Xbox support or even PlayStation support is blocking people's refunds despite people having real reasons to do so. Let me show you what I mean, and then we'll get into the performance of this game later on, because it's a lot. We'll start here. You got users on Steam forums like this guy saying that they refunded the game, which I don't blame them, but at least they had it done. Other YouTubers like this guy saying that they also refunded the game, which doesn't surprise me given what 343 has done here at all too. We have another user here who tried to refund the game, but was denied immediately by Xbox's policies. Obviously, it's in another language, so here's more context. As seen here, this user Arnaldo bought a Halo Campaign Evolved on Xbox, but the game wouldn't launch for him despite paying for early access. So because he wasn't able to play it because the game was bugged and wouldn't launch, his game surpassed the window of being eligible for a refund or some discount at least, so now he was stuck with his full purchase. Again, he did play it eventually, but despite again not being able to play it during the early access period that he obviously paid for, they still wouldn't refund even a little bit. He would just end up playing it afterwards and still tried to refund it due to the technical problems, but at this point it was over. He was stuck with the game no matter what he did. At the very least, Microsoft could have refunded the early access portion of the payment and let him keep the rest of the game, but I guess they said screw it and left him to deal with it now. Another user is seen here shows that they weren't also allowed to even refund the game, and Xbox support just denied them, screwing this user out of any way forward as well, which yeah, I had to put some white boxes on those F-bombs, but you get the idea. Another user, as you can see here, tried to refund Halo on PlayStation, but the game would not allow them to refund it, and Sony support team in this instance left this Ted guy in the cold. This guy here at least had a better ending. He was able to refund the game, so that's good. Someone's getting their money back, I guess. Here's another user who apparently has me blocked, raging out that they can't play Halo because Microsoft servers don't work properly. And they said they're going to refund the game, and they even have a Master Chief profile picture, which is, well, that's kind of crazy. Here's a Steam user also refunding the game because the game just didn't meet their expectations, which is fair, but let's go check in on the Halo subreddit for people who want refunds for that digital premium edition they got. But as you can see, oh, look at that, the mods locked the thread. Great job, everybody, really allowing people to voice their concerns openly. We even got other people on Steam here showing others how to refund the game as well. But how well is this game doing then despite all of this? Surely this can't be as bad as I'm claiming it to be, right? Well, let's get into that now. It's safe to say this is not going the way that Microsoft thought that it would. As Windows Central reported here, Halo Campaign Evolved performed well on Xbox in its home turf, but on PlayStation, the game has not been getting the glowing success that Xbox has hoped for, with only 1%, yes, 1% of PlayStation fans actually buying this game during its release. Yeah, we're probably never getting Halo 2 on PS5 at this rate, are we? The fact that it turns out that Halo, arguably the biggest Xbox IP of them all, came to PlayStation, their biggest rival's console, and barely anybody picked it up shows how brand damaging 343 and Xbox have been to Halo over the last few years. This should have been a Call of Duty level release. It should have eclipsed everything, but it did none of that. Where does this info even come from? Well, it's from an analyst at Circana. As seen here, they said that Halo ranked 4th in the United States for daily active users on Xbox, which means about 8% of players there played the game. It ranked even lower on Steam at 14th place, and even lower on PlayStation at 29th place, with again, that scathing 1% of people in total actually checking out the game on that platform. Look, I'm not good at math, but even I can tell you this is not good at all. This also proves that 343 Industries, now called Halo Studios, has kind of done the impossible. They managed to destroy Halo for good. Genuinely, they did it. I really can't believe that 19 years ago, like Halo 3 came out, and it was so big it rattled every news station. Everybody I knew was playing it. The game was unstoppable. And to think that not even 20 years later, Halo of all things, one of gaming's biggest pillars of its identity, would be reduced to the gray slop meal it has now become is kind of wild. Only 343 Industries could be capable of doing this, and I know some people will call me a hater for pointing this out, but no, I don't hate Halo. The opposite. I actually love it. I think Halo is amazing. Well, the Bungie ones. I beat the Bungie Halo games many times myself. 100% in stuff like Reach even back in the day too, beating Legendary by myself. I love these games, okay? They're a part of my identity too. Nothing brings me glee here at all, okay? They just ruined Halo. I know some will say you're lying here. Halo can't be doing that badly. You're just trying to paint a narrative. All right, fair enough, I guess. Well, Jez Corden, he's one of the journalists that works for Windows Central, and he's a big-time Xbox fanboy, even admitted in his own post as seen here, was the juice worth the squeeze? Halo Studios last year said it's really a new era. Halo is on PlayStation going forward. Starting with Halo Campaign Evolved, data says PS5 gamers don't care. Campaign Evolved is a big flop on the system. And then Jez links people to the article I already showed you that he wrote, by the way, so let me ask anyone watching who is doubting these claims now, why would an Xbox fanatic who loves Xbox and has spent his, entire journalism career pretty much running damage control for them be openly admitting now that Xbox is all but flopped on PlayStation? But let's be real here. The reason why this remake even exists in the first place is mostly to cater specifically to PlayStation fans over any other group. Because Xbox, obviously, and PC have access to the Master Chief Collection already, or even the original versions of Halo, as we all know. This remake is instead something that they don't really need. They have access to everything already, obviously, so this was made specifically for the PlayStation players in order to push this into that storefront and cement a footholding. I mean, nobody can deny that. That's why this remake exists. Yet you're telling me that only 1% of PlayStation fans showed up for Halo Campaign Evolved during its first week. Are we being serious right now? One of the biggest IPs that Microsoft owns and their competition's entire player base couldn't even care less about it. And now they're blocking refunds or making it near impossible for others to get their money back. Like, this is a disaster. Look, I don't say these things happily. I would love Halo to be on PlayStation if it were Bungie's original Halo games, but not like this. Not when a game that is over 20 years old is given a new coat of paint and it ends up running like dog water out of the gate. And people who paid extra can't play the game, and then they're being denied refunds on early access. What are we doing? Seriously. This is not what gaming should be, okay? For God's sakes, this is a single player game only. This has less content objectively than the original Combat Evolved. It has no multiplayer, yet here we are, and the game struggles anyways to run. I mean, that's Unreal Engine 5 for you, rearing its ugly head for like the 10th time again, so who's even like surprised really? But according to Circana from that Windows Central article again, as you can see there, that analyst guy claims the reason Halo is suffering is because it has to go up against live service games like Fortnite and stuff like that. But as Jez Corden, the writer of the article, says, he doesn't agree with that, and yeah, neither do I. This has nothing to do with live service. Why is Halo's underperformance being blamed on live service games existing when every other game that has released this year that is also single player only, that has done well, been able to, despite also being released into the exact same environment that Halo is currently competing into? Is Resident Evil Requiem suddenly not a good example despite it selling millions out of the gate and also being single player only? What about things like Palworld, which came back, that are also single player, not live service? It has co-op, sure, but it is still largely single player. Even stuff like Pokemon Pocopia, another single player game, sold millions on one platform, and you can't say Nintendo doesn't have to compete with Fortnite or something when games like that also exist on their platform as well. No, I don't really think this is a good rebuttal. It sounds like cope to me, honestly. If Halo Campaign Evolved was good and people actually liked it, they would have showed up to play the game. It's really as simple as that. Whenever I see some company studios say, it's those live service games, the reality is, while yes, they will have some sort of impact on you like every other game around it, the truth is that the game that was made just isn't what people were looking for, and that's really all it is. The fact that you have like friend slop games like Mecha Chameleon selling like 15 million copies already tells you everything. Even stuff like Forza Horizon 6 sold something like 7 million plus copies too this year. Pragmata did over almost 3 million units despite being single player too. Star Fox sold well, Tomodachi Life, Lego, Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight, even 007 did as well. All these games and more, what do they all have in common? They're all primarily single player with no massive multiplayer, 6v6 matchmaking or anything like that, really. But Halo's the one that failed because of live service? Come on, man, the excuses are running out here. No wonder why they're blocking the refunds. They need to keep as many people in as they can, even if it's against their will. As I write this, as you can see, Halo has about 9,400 players on Steam, which I mean, well, it's doing better than Marathon, at least I guess, but that isn't saying much. But even then, right, this is supposed to be the Xbox crown jewel, the game that defined them, began Xbox's rule even, and it's barely hitting numbers that like indie games were able to surpass on like their worst days, right? Jez Corden of Windows Central said more, and even gave insight on other Halo projects that got canceled. Let me read it for you. Halo Campaign Evolved has been generally controversial for its lack of multiplayer, perceived or unperceived liberties taken with the art direction and detailing, while accentuating a lack of visible roadmap for the future of the franchise. Sources familiar tell us that Halo Studios recently canceled a multiplayer-focused Halo game titled Project Ekor, formerly Tatanka, a short while ago, leaving the franchise somewhat adrift. So is that the reason why Halo Campaign Evolved is no multiplayer? Because they didn't want to double dip the player base away from a multiplayer-only Halo game that was in development that now doesn't even exist but got canceled already? Like, what are we doing at Halo Studios? It's kind of crazy how Bungie was able to, back in the day, make banger Halos back to back like it was nothing, and they released them in a tidy schedule too. Now here comes 343 with all the tools and everything made for them by OG Bungie, and they can't release a single game of their own making that even works at release. And even when they remake a game, it's garbage that people are still rejecting. As Jez Corden says here, the PS5 version performing poorly is a reflection of Halo's reputation and how people perceive that franchise now. And I agree, nobody seems to care about it anymore as long as the people at 343 are in charge of it. At this point, if I could give Microsoft any advice when it comes to helping Halo, it would honestly be to cease everything that they're doing. Just stop making Halo games. Completely cancel each and every remake or new game that will likely be garbage anyways, and just shut it all down for good, okay? Just stop making these games internally, because the people you are giving this franchise to, they don't know what to do with it, and that shows. I'm not saying they're all bad developers, but they're not good at making Halo. Can we agree? The best case scenario now would be to just treat Halo in a similar way to how Disney treats their Marvel IP. What do I mean by that? Well, Disney doesn't actually make their Marvel games, do they, right? No, they license the IP out to various studios to make things. This is why Marvel Rivals exists, or Marvel Token, which is coming out, or Spider-Man games, or the Wolverine game from Insomniac. You get the idea. Even though none of the companies mentioned are owned by the same entities, they are all making Marvel games their way, right? Instead of one way, if that makes sense. Because Marvel Rivals obviously plays nothing like Insomniac Spider-Man or anything else, and that's a good thing, because these games should be different, because obviously it's different studios making them. Okay, so now let's think of Halo in a similar light. Halo is your Marvel. What do? Well, you license the IP out to various studios who are actually interested and let them do whatever they want to do with the franchise. One suggestion would be to give Halo as an IP to the Saber Interactive guys who made Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Imagine how cool a third-person Halo, or even I guess first-person Halo game from them would feel like with their Horde technology that Space Marine 2 and their previous game World War Z have implemented wonderfully already. Just hordes and hordes of Covenant and Flood. There's a great idea. Another would be, why not see if Arrowhead, the guys who made Helldivers, if they're interested in making a Halo game. Imagine Helldivers 2, but it's Halo, and you're all ODSTs dropping down on various planets to push back the Covenant, the Flood, the Brutes. It writes itself. Need I even explain it even more than I did? Or you end up giving Halo as a license to some Asian development studio, similar to what Marvel Rivals ended up becoming, and just see what they do with it. I'm not saying make a Halo hero shooter or like a Halo JRPG, no, but what I am saying is give Halo to these fresh minds and teams that haven't worked on it and just see what they do with it instead. Because it's become very clear that the people at 343 are Halo Studios, as they're called now. They have no idea what they're doing at the best of times. I don't even like admitting that. Like, that's sad, honestly, man. All they ended up doing is trying to replicate what Bungie did, but poorly and worse. Like, that's not good. That's why nobody cares about Halo anymore. At the very least, this way, you could inject Halo with new blood and fresh ideas over instead the same people who've already drove this IP into the grave now, just turning out remakes that aren't even being made in-house anymore. But instead, they're using massive outsourcing teams instead. Like, seriously, why do this? You could even do a Halo game by, let's say, Housemarque. That's the Returnal and Seros people. That could be interesting. Just, make sure they don't humiliation ritual the story or characters like they did with Seros, but it could be an interesting idea, I guess. I would even love to see a single-player focused, more human-driven Halo game. Maybe made by the guys who did the Metro 2033 games even. That would be cool. You're not Master Chief. You're just an ordinary person fighting the Covenant and the Flood and the Brutes. So you're not super powered or anything, but it would be more like, I don't know, like imagine Resistance Fall of Man, but it's Halo made by the Metro guys. That could actually be pretty interesting, I got to admit. But the point here is that Halo, as it is right now, is not going to work the way that Microsoft is intending it to work. Because the people who made Halo are no longer at that studio to actually make these new games. Like, that is very, very clear. And instead, what you're being left with is a bunch of people who clearly do not know what they're doing. I mean, based on their performance these past 16 years alone. And look, I don't care care if this makes me an enemy of 343 Industries. They ruined Halo. It is what it is. I mean, think about it. They made Halo 4. That game was okay, not great. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. That's fine. Halo 5 Guardians had a lot of hype behind it, but it ended up failing anyways. Halo Infinite as well was not really it. They tried making the Master Chief Collection, which is just a collection of the games that Bungie made. And even then, they couldn't even get that game to run properly for like a year or two after release. And like the games were already made for them. It was insane. And I mean, what do you even expect from a studio named after the main twist villain of the first Halo game? Like, these guys were always going to ruin Halo, man. Come on. The point is, you can't recreate the magic that Bungie created, because that Bungie as a version, they don't exist anymore. So now all you can really do is take this IP and see if the DNA of other studios that aren't called 343 or Halo Studios can just do with it instead. Like, seriously, Space Marine 2, but Halo would be sick. An actual like guerrilla resistance game, but it's Halo and you're a bunch of human beings that are fighting Covenant and stuff. And like, oh man, that'd be sick. Like, it would be like if you run into an elite, it would be like running into like a massive monster for you. You wouldn't be on equal footing. You would have to actually use the environment and stuff around you to actually get rid of them. Like, that would be cool to see. But PC Gamer is shown here brought up how the remake is held down by pointless, stupid stuff, like logins being locked or not working, or even the servers just kind of crapping their pants. As one user said that PC Gamer uses as an example here, login failed, cannot play the single player game as servers are overloading, screw your DRM, combat was not evolved. Yeah, like, remind me again, why server access matters exactly to a single player game? Oh, it's DRM? Oh, that's why? Okay, that makes sense. Here's another user on Steam stating they keep getting errors and can't log in. They played not even 2 hours before they gave up, which is probably very disappointing for them, but I understand, but that sucks, right? Despite all the sorries and all the woes. PC Gamer shows that all Halo remakes devs can do is just offer condolences and say that the issues have been sent to their teams for fixing. Like, what even? The game just came out. What do you mean it needs to be fixed now? Which honestly, like, this shouldn't even happen, right? But this is what modern gaming has become for these people. It's just another blunder that gets added to the pile. It just sucks, man. Because like, there was a time when Halo didn't have to remind you why it was so special, you know? You didn't need some cinematic trailer telling you that the next Halo game was going to redefine the franchise or first-person shooters. You knew it would, because it was OG Bungie doing it. Halo campaign evolved. It should have been what fans wanted, right? A reset or return to the beginning, if you will. A chance to just wipe the slate clean, revisit the game that started it all, but through modern technology, of course. But really, all I've come to as a conclusion after all of this is just one simple truth. Halo never needed to be reinvented. And all 343 and Microsoft has done is just repeat the same mistakes. Halo 4 tried to evolve, right? Halo 5 lied about its premise. Halo Infinite wanted to turn the series into a live service platform, I guess, hence the Infinite in the name. It would go on forever, but it didn't. But no matter what 343 did, the same issues were underlying all of these games. And it proves finally, for sure, that these people that are currently making Halo, they seemed increasingly disconnected from the reason that people fell in love with Halo in the first place. It can't be denied anymore. The original Halo trusted you to figure things out. It didn't spell everything out for you like games do these days. It didn't have return to battlefield UI nonsense that would just end you if you stepped out of bounds. What was out of bounds in Halo? The only out of bounds in Halo Combat Evolved was like when you basically fell off a cliff or something. But other than that, there just didn't exist. Like, you just fell into this ring world. You just had to figure out what you were doing. Like, that was awesome. Look, ultimately 343 believed that they could swindle people again for like, what is this, the 4th or 5th time? I don't even know anymore. And they could lie about refunds to keep as much money as they can possible from another disastrous release. But all this keeps telling me, like, this is not like a one-time thing. This has happened so many times now, is that 343 nor Xbox, they don't care about preserving the soul of the original Halo game. Like, that is so obvious now, we can't deny it. And again, I'm not even saying these things as a hater, okay? This makes me sad, okay? All this is about is milking and destroying and stripping this game for parts like it's a broken car in like an apocalypse so they can continue down the gravy train. All they did was remove the weirdness, experimentation, and even the personality of Halo. And really for what? Just more diverse characters and cutscenes? Wow, what a trade-off. Definitely worth it. Thanks, 343. And look, while Campaign Evolved might look technically impressive, it's still soulless. Halo's supposed to feel alien and strange. Now it's just another Unreal Engine corpo slop outsourced game number 5,000, right? And all they did was let's make Halo look more photorealistic. I guess so, but all that did was sand off the qualities of what made Halo cool in the first place. You just ended up erasing its identity. All all the fans wanted is for Halo to feel like Halo. Yet all Microsoft cares about is adding more features to Halo that make it increasingly feel less like Halo. We want more monetization or live service elements in Infinite's case, or we want more content added in new missions that retroactively also makes Halo worse as these new missions with bossy girl boss NPCs like they did in this game. All Halo is treated like now is it's a brand, right? It's just a product to Microsoft now. And Halo isn't valuable because they own this trademark. Halo was valuable because people actually cared about this thing. None of this can be just created by committee, and they can't replace what we cared about with stuff that we don't want. The idea of calling this campaign evolved is stupid and ironic because they didn't evolve anything. They just regressed it. And I'm being serious. If we can't make Halo like it used to be, then just outsource it to like other studios and just make things that aren't like the original Halo anymore, because it's very obvious nobody can do it anymore. The original Bungie doesn't exist. It just can't be done, right? You can add all you want, but the soul of Halo should remain untouched. And at this point, Microsoft is not even preserving gaming history. They are just replacing it now. And it's really no wonder that people want their refunds, and even Xbox diehard fanboys, journalism people are turning heel too. Campaign Evolved was 343 and Microsoft's last chance to prove that Halo still had a soul under their watch. But now it's become very true that the only thing they did after all of these games was ruin Halo, withhold the refunds, and made a game 20 years old and then some, even worse despite having everything made for them already with all the tools available. Like Bungie made everything for you guys. Like the whole game is made. You have it. This is like being given the blueprint to build a house and they give you everything for free. Here's all the wood. Here's all the electric. Like everything is there for you. You can't mess this up. It's literally like it's right there. And all they ended up doing was giving everybody asbestos and like burning down the worksite instead, right? Cancel everything Halo, shut it all down, give it to some other studios that can do something new with it at least, because this is not working. But let me know what you think. Thanks for being here. Subscribe if you'd like to. See you next time, and just let Halo rest, Microsoft. You ruined it, okay? Just give this series the decency at least to end on its own terms, because this is getting embarrassing.